Just a couple quick things with you, and then I'm going to bring up one of my colleagues, Joe. I'm going to tell you about a story. First of all, I'm going to start with the story. I'm one of 36 first cousins. We're Catholic. Okay, we're not Mormon, we're Catholic. But yeah, I'm one of 36 cousins, and all of us had a nickname. And we had Dan the Man and Gene the Machine and Fartin Martin. I wonder about my cousin Martin. But I was known as Jenny who ain't got a penny. Which is why some of you have said Jenny to me, and I go, no Jenny for me. But my uncle Dars said to me one day, he said, you know, Jenny, you're just going to be like your father, you're going to be an alcoholic. You're going to be just like your mom, you're going to be a verbal abuser. You're going to be poor, you're going to smoke, because they do too. And you really won't achieve much because that's the way the world is.
Wow.
Now at 9 years old, I didn't quite understand it. So what I did is I started carrying a penny in my shoe. And every time he said, Jenny, you ain't got a penny, I go, no, I have a penny. I thought it was great. But there was an event that happened once in my life, well, several times. But I came into the, I'm not going to go into full detail, but I came into the house one day and my dad had a shotgun to my mom's head. And that was the trigger that changed my entire life. And I ran out, and I'm truly Jenny from Forrest Gump. That's me. I had little blonde hair, always wearing a dress. I usually wear a dress. It's very rare to see me in pants. I've been wearing pants the last couple of days. It's so weird. And you know, I went into the cornfield in my grandparents' house, and I said something's got to change. Something has to change. So my entire life was proving. So I started off in this thing saying, I'm just going to prove to everybody. And I did. I was a cheerleader. I was Miss Colorado Springs. I was runner-up Miss Colorado. I was pre-med for cardiology. I ended up getting a degree in architectural design and construction engineering. I thought, I'll do that instead. Yeah. Tennis champion, you name it. I'm married to my high school sweetheart. We are Danny and Sandy. I can't wait till y'all meet him at Secret Knock. I can't wait till y'all meet him at Secret Knock because he hasn't been to anything that we're doing. And we'll be married 40 years in July. But we've been together 44. I love when people say that. But, you know, so I went on and I pursued this, and that transcended into my business too. So I became one of the top 200 loan officers in the country for mortgages. Out of a million.
Yes.
A million.
Yes.
That's a 0.0003%. I'm one of only 10 people who have funded $1 billion in that time. And so I'm a real estate investor. I got a whole bunch of real estate, and I love all that stuff. But the reason I'm telling you this is because this whole life improving went into my business. But then one day I said, I'm not going to tell you that story, but everything changed. And I said, I'm done proving, and I'm going to start living. And I was working gazillion hours a week. Anybody working? Tons and tons of hours. And I said, there's got to be a code. There's got to be a way to crack this code so that I don't have to work as many hours. And at the time, I was funding $50 million a year in loans, and I was working about 80 hours a week. And I said, you know, it's got to change. So I went on this mission for like 3 years, and I figured out the code. And I'm going to talk about the code some other day, but I figured out the code, and I turned around, and I had done 102 million. I had doubled my business, and I was working 40 hours a week, or not 40 hours a week, 4 days a week, and I still work 4 days a week if I want to.
Yeah.
Right? If I want to, right? Okay, so here's what I did. Has anybody heard of, and this is interactive. You know you shouldn't be working in your business, you should be working
On your business.
Okay, so what if I told you I don't believe in that at all? What if I can show you how, imagine this, right? Stop working in and on your business, and let's start helping you work above and beyond your business. Mic drop.
Drop the mic.
I know, I have a little mic, he's a little just stuffed thing, he has legs. I cut his legs off though. He's a little stuffed thing, and his name is Mike, and I drop him on my Zoom calls. It's so true. But, okay, so here's the thing. In and on, above and beyond. Right? So I don't care where you are in your business, whether you're doing 5 figures, 7 figures, it doesn't matter. I want you to start thinking about this right now, right? So in is me. I'm going to give you 3 M's. In is me. Everything's about me. I have to pull money in. I'm the finder, minder, and grinder, which you can read in my book, Launch. I love your Ignite or Flight stuff because everything's Ignite for me in Launch. So the first M is me. Everything's about you, right? So you're doing it all. You're the chief everything, right? Second stage, so this is on, is that you say, well, now when I work on my business, it's me trying to get higher up and look into my business and not do the grinding, right? But I'm going to go do the finding. I'm going to hire a few people, right? But then you hire the wrong person. You blame them instead of yourself, right? Finger pointing instead of thumb pointing, right? So when you go into the second M, that is now you're managing the methods. Right? So you're managing the system. I love systems. I'm an engineer. Right? I love systems. And so now you're managing the systems. The only thing is that you keep having to pop back into in, and you want to be on, but you have to be back in because you didn't write down the systems. You should have 8 or 9 systems in place for everything. So that when you start hiring the people, they're now working, you don't have to manage, you're managing that system, right? You're managing the system. What happens is your people are enabled, not empowered, because you haven't written it down and they don't know what to do. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. Here's how you go to above. Critical. This is the now. Hi. This is the third M. Okay. Now, instead of managing me or managing the methods, we're going to manage the message. We're managing the message. With me on this? This will empower your people because now everybody's talking the same language. There's 3 V's into this. 1, what's your vision? Right? I'm not going to go into 10 detail. What's your vision? What are your core values in your business? You have to have your personal, but what do you have for your business? I love that everybody's saying integrity because that's my #1 core value in my business.
Yeah.
Integrity. And anybody who's worked with me, you know I'm all about integrity, right? So first is your vision. Second is your values, and third is your voice. This is where people fail so miserably. Who said it? Someone was talking about Chick-fil-A, right? My pleasure. That's by design.
Yeah.
When you go into McDonald's, they say, "Can I take your order?" When you go into Starbucks, they say, "What can we get started?" That's by design. Does your team know your vision, or do you just know your vision? Does your team know your core values? Did they know it? Because now they can be empowered and everybody's managing the message instead of managing the method or managing themselves. They're now managing the message. Everybody's in on it. So your voice is, are you formal? Are you funny? Do you text with emojis?
Yes.
I love emojis. I'm a high I. I'm like a 102 I. Right? So I love emojis, but how do you respond to a client who says, "Hey, my spouse just passed away"? You say, "Oh, I'm really sorry, but I need the paperwork." Or do you say, "Whoa, what happened? How can we help?" That voice is critical. And I was thinking about this at 4 o'clock this morning because I'm still on East Coast time. 4 o'clock this morning that you've mastered this because I can talk to Billy and I can talk to Tia, and it's like talking to Greg. And that's when you know you have the success. And that allows you to work above your business. You're still the heart, but now everyone's managing that same message. And that allows you to go beyond. Now what's beyond? Beach, another business, another opportunity. I have 5 businesses because I'm beyond, right? In everything I'm doing, my goal is to get beyond. So that's what I wanted to share with you. So last thing I want to say is, so let me tell you about Uncle Darcy. He's 89 years old right now. I love him to death. I don't ever get emotional. But I took my family back to Michigan, which is where my mom is from, where I was raised a little girl. I'm actually from Colorado as well. But I went back there and 2 years ago, and I took them for the first time. My son is 37 and my daughter's 34. And I took the kids and the grandkids. I have 3.5 grandkids. My daughter's expecting right now. And we went back to the house because I was so afraid to go back to that Jenny who ain't got a penny. I'd been there, but I didn't want to share with them where my dad had a shotgun, where my dad left me and my mom on the road, where my dad I had to grab my dad out of a basement. He'd been there in a 2-week drunk, you know, all of that. And my uncle said to me, I'm so proud of you, Jenny. By the way, he's the only one who can call me that. Call me Jenny. He said, I'm so proud of you, Jenny. Look what you've accomplished in your life. Your kids are beautiful. Your marriage is beautiful. Your faith is beyond reproach. And he said, I'm just so proud of you. And I thought, finally, I got it. Now I didn't need it, but I got it.
Beautiful.
I got it.
And she also got a tattoo on the back of her neck. There you go. Cigarette knot all the way around. We're gonna do. Bring up your friend real quick because we gotta wrap up.
Joe, I don't know what we're going to talk about.
Well, it's mission with the trees. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Real quick.